Good afternoon, YouTube fans. Eric Hayden here in the garden. Sunday afternoon, a couple days ago, we had snow. Another morning today where we had temperatures in the mid-20s. So it's been cold, but now we have a very nice day. Temperatures in the 60s and plenty of sunshine. This video is going to cover doing what you should do when you know you should do it. I'm going to talk about weed control with Roundup, and I'm going to talk a little bit about spraying for diseases. Again, it's a spectacular day across eastern North Carolina. Temperatures right around 60 degrees, a light breeze if at all. So pretty good conditions for getting out in the garden. If you've watched the videos the last couple weeks, the main chores have been to weed the beds, and then we put down a pre-emergent. We've had a couple inches of rainfall over the last 2 weeks, or week to 10 days since we've done the pre-emergent. So as far as weed control is concerned, that pre-emergent should really prevent the bulk of the weeds from coming up in the spring. First point I want to make is you will still have some weeds that were already on their way to getting started that the pre-emergent will not kill. So again, pre-emergents are for weeds that have not started, but you can see that we still have a couple lonely weeds in the garden. Usually, if I didn't do a pre-emergent, I would pluck those out. The quicker you can get them out of the ground, easier they are, and then they won't spread as much and then go to seed, and then you are starting all over again. However, with the pre-emergent, you really don't want to disturb the soil. So in this case, I used a little bit of Roundup in between the beds. I'm not a huge Roundup fan, not so much because of the health issues that it could cause. One point on that, with anything, you should be reading the bottle, and I wear a mask, gloves, and I'm covered from head to toe. So if you are wearing the correct thing and you're not exposed to it, you'll be just fine. The issue I have with Roundup is roses are super sensitive to it. So the only two times I like to use Roundup are when I want to clear out a whole area, like this bed over here was nothing but weeds. So I sprayed that whole area of the lawn to do a mass kill of the vegetation. In that scenario, I like Roundup. And then in this scenario, I like Roundup. By and large, we don't have a lot of weeds at all. On a day that's not windy, I can get in here. The bushes aren't really grown yet, so they're not huge, and I can knock out those weeds very easily. I can hold the sprayer, the nozzle right down at the ground itself, so I'm not concerned about getting any on the roses. So you have to be extremely careful using Roundup, certainly wearing your protective gear, but also I don't like using it when there's a lot of weeds in the garden and the roses are fully grown. I like to, again, use it in the scenario where I'm clearing everything out or just spot treating. Because if you're just doing spot treating, again, I can get in between these beds because it's winter time and I don't have a lot of vegetation, and I can quite easily get down there and go boom, boom, boom with the end of the nozzle and get those small weeds before they really get much worse. So, reason why I did it today, you don't want those weeds to get any larger. It's nice weather and it's not windy, and we're expecting a lot of rain this week. So, last thing I want to do is head out to the garden again, but sometimes you just have to get ahead of these things, because you can see this bed is 98% weed free, and if I let these little weeds crop up over time, they will cause some issues. And you can see some of them, they're very, very small seedlings. So again, the pre-emergent's not going to stop those. It'll stop any future ones. But if you just hit that with a little bit of Roundup, you won't have any issues. The second thing I'm going to do after this video is actually spray a fungicide again. If you saw the videos the last couple weeks, we've been extremely warm here in the eastern part of the Carolinas. And because of that, we do have some black spot and potentially some downy mildew. Not quite sure, it could be one of the two, so I'm gonna spray for both. This is Randy Scott, a beautiful exhibition rose. It can get some disease from time to time. You can see some of that on the leaves right there. Again, either black spot or downy mildew. So I'm gonna spray for that. I was tempted just to leave it alone because a lot of this I may prune out here over the next couple weeks, but just in case I decide not to prune it out, I don't want those spores sticking around. You can see there's already some new growth there and there, but there are some black spots on the leaves themselves. So I'm gonna spray again. I did it about a week ago. I got a comment asking what I spray, so I'll head on over here to the shed to show you what I do. While we're walking over there, the reason why I'm spraying is I already have disease present. It's been about a week since I last sprayed, so according to the directions I can spray once a week, so I'm following the rules. But the other is the weather. I tell you about that all the time. This upcoming week, we're going to be 65 to 70, rainy every day, 50s at night. That is spectacular weather for the disease to spread. So it's a sunny day that's not windy. It's a Sunday afternoon. I have a lot going on. But if you just take that time to get out there and spray when you need to, that will prevent problems down the road. I have a more detailed video, but I really like this Chapin 4-gallon pump sprayer or backpack sprayer. I have another one, the same one for Roundup, but you do not want to mix the two. This one is for roses only. This is one thing you don't want to be cheap about. You don't want to get one and then just rinse it out each time and think everything will be a-okay. You don't want any hint of Roundup on your roses. So I would get a completely separate sprayer for the Roundup. So there's my backpack sprayer. I've got my PPE there. I usually wear a face mask and a respirator as well. That goes for the Roundup as well as the fungicide I spray. Traditionally just do this Manzate once a week. Every other week I'll do Honor Guard, systemic, but this is a contact fungicide for black spot and some other diseases. And since we are in the season of the potential for downy mildew, it likes cool, wet springs, I'm going to put in a little Alliate. Again, that can be sprayed once a week as well. And according to the instructions, these two can be mixed. Neither one is copper-based. Alliate does not want to be mixed with a copper product, which Manzate is not. So those are the two products I'm using. I know a lot of people know the train name is Roundup. Glyphosate is the name itself of the chemical. This is generic Roundup. Got this at either Tractor Supply or something of that equivalent. If you're going to be doing a lot of weed killing, I recommend getting the 1-gallon size. This was, I don't remember the exact cost, but whatever the cost of this was, you would get equivalent squirt bottle at your local Lowe's or Home Depot. So that will really go a long, long way. Being a concentrate, you only add a little bit per gallon, and this 1-gallon container actually makes 85 gallons. So this is gonna last me forever. Again, this big jug at like the Tractor Supply or something equivalent is about the same price as one of those little spray bottles that's already pre-mixed. So if you get the concentrate, you can save quite a bit of money in terms of the long run. So that's it here in the garden. I get that spraying done. I mentioned the PPE. It's not that I'm not concerned with those chemicals, but if you follow the label, do what you should, as soon as I get inside, I'll get out of these clothes and showers right away. You'll be okay. So this nice day, I've got those weeds spot treated. I'll take care of the fungicide for any diseases here coming up over the next couple weeks. And then we'll let the rain soak in and let things grow. Still not pruning yet because we're anticipating more cold weather into the first week of March. So still aiming for about March 7th. When we go ahead and do that. Please comment below if you've got any questions. I did get a comment on what did I use, show what I use in terms of the fungicide, so that's why I did that. So enjoy your weekend. I hope it's warm where you are, and we'll be in touch.